Fun is a word we often use to describe every game we play. I mean, that is the essence of what gaming is. It's fun. But the funny thing about it is how subjective it is. Every opinion of a game is just that, but whether you find it fun is up to you. You might find looking at a spreadsheet in Europa Universalis fun, but I don't. And I love driving around like a headless chicken in Rocket League, or bashing my head against a wall in a Souls boss fight. And odds are, some of you won't find that fun. And while a lot of people enjoy Kingdom Come Deliverance, there's a reason why you don't like it. It kind of straddles that line of fun. After playing it for around 40 hours and finally beating it before Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I can say that it is an amazing game. But is it fun? And more importantly, do games actually need to be fun?
Yeah.
So a bit of background on Warhorse and Kingdom Come Deliverance. Warhorse is a Czech studio founded by two storied game developers, Dan Vavra, who formerly was a writer at 2K Czech and worked on Mafia 1 and 2, as well as Martin Klima, who was a producer at Bohemia Interactive, which I find quite coincidental considering where KCD is set. This is all important for two reasons. The Mafia series is known for one thing, and that is its amazing lifelike worlds. Now, I've only played Mafia 1 and 3, but the highlight is their dedication to making the cities feel real. And all that hard work shows, because the rest of Mafia 3 isn't very memorable. Bohemia Interactive created Arma, another game lauded for its realism and dedicated to methodical movement and realistic weapons. Both of these studios' DNAs can be seen in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Right from the get-go, you must help your dad collect the debt from the town drunkard. In any normal RPG tutorial area, you would walk up to him, maybe intimidate him into giving you the money, or if all else fails, just punch the crap out of him till he gives you the money. And it would be a cakewalk. But no, KCD is completely different. See, Henry is just a normal person. He's the son of a blacksmith who spends more time in the local tavern drinking with his mates than taking care of his responsibilities. And that's where the special sauce of this game is. Since he's a normal lad, his stats in almost everything are extremely low. And you have the option to fight Kunesh, who is the local drunkard, but it will be tough, and there's a chance that you'll get beaten, which feels foreign for a lot of other games in this genre. You can also take the stealth option and knock him out, or pickpocket him, but since Henry isn't a master thief, it's nearly impossible to do this. And the best and most realistic option is a completely different route. Your mates ask you to get one back on another townsperson, and in return, they'll help you beat the crap out of Kunesh. That's the option I went for.
Enough! I give up. Take what you want. It's not much, but it's all I have. You understand?
And after the prologue, Henry becomes a local guard of a town. And again, this is just a normal job. And the first quest is strolling around the town at night with another guard. And as you go, he introduces you to all the shops and the people in the town. And it ends in a fight between you and a local lord who wouldn't leave the tavern after curfew. And this is the point where it dawned on me. No other game could make this feel important. Let's take Skyrim for example, a game that Kingdom Come Deliverance is constantly compared to. The best moments in that game are fighting giant dragons, scaling tall mountains, and exploring the deepest dwarven caverns. So when you have to slow down and walk around the town, it feels like wasted time. The second you escape the dragon at the start and arrive at the local town, you have to talk to a couple of people, and this is the moment I always remember for getting in my way just as the world opened to me. And this is where Kingdom Come Deliverance is different, and also where the team's history of working on the Mafia series comes into play. Because just as Kingdom Come Deliverance opens up to you, you're forced to slowly walk around the town and play cops and robbers, and somehow it isn't boring. In fact, I love it. The towns look real, there are little puddles in the muddy streets, the guards patrol around the town and interact with all the different NPCs, and traders are screaming about their wares, and while it has some Eurojank, NPCs will have a daily schedule. It's just enough to make this world believable, immersing you in the world like very few games can do. See, I started this game during the Christmas break, and I had a particularly hectic and stressful end to my year last year, and I needed some time to disconnect and reset for 2025. And I couldn't have picked a better game to do that, because where Skyrim, Elden Ring, or Diablo revel in the big moments like crazy bosses or 100 million particle effects going off at once, Kingdom Come Deliverance tells you to slow down and smell the roses, or smell the dirty, smelly streets of a 1400s medieval town. And if you have struggled with getting into Kingdom Come Deliverance and maybe you just don't find it fun, I think taking your time and slowing down is the best thing that you can do to enjoy this game, because it is a slow burn. There are just so many of these little moments in Kingdom Come Deliverance that make it so special. The world is truly reactive, or at least enough to make it believable. If you just went out into the wilds and ran into a bandit camp, which probably didn't go too well for you, you'll return to the town covered in blood and dirt, and the NPCs will have a visible reaction to it all. And it'll even affect your speech stats because you won't be able to get good prices in the shop or persuade that guard to let you through the door. And that's where the tedium sets in. You have to sleep, eat, bathe, and wash your clothes. You know, all that sort of stuff that we do in real life that takes up so much time. Well, guess what? Now you have to do it in a medieval setting, but it makes sense with what the game is trying to go for. It might not always get it right, and the systems can be exploited like any RPG. But even the pursuit of it makes it interesting, like the fact that when I return to a town, I go to the local tailor to repair my gear, I go to the bathhouse to clean up and heal my wounds, and then I'm ready to set off on another adventure. It's just a unique feeling that no other game really gives you. See, I find this side of the game fascinating. How do you make a game feel like a game, but also kind of realistic? You can go for the Arma style where everything is trying to be lifelike. Guns have realistic mechanics and bullets react properly to physics to how they would in real life. You will die in one well-placed shot, or at the very least will be incapacitated. But for me, Arma never felt like a game. It just wasn't for me. And here, in most places, they have the right level of realism versus gaminess. And they could have gone a lot harder with the realism, but it would have sacrificed a lot for me. They could have forced you to go to a doctor to heal every wound you had. They could have given you all sorts of diseases that needed proper bed rest and an apothecary to cure. They could have made it that 1 or 2 hits with a sword would kill you, but they didn't. And they made a way better game. Now there is a hardcore mode that does add certain status ailments and all this sort of stuff, but that would be too much for me. But it is nice that the option is there. There will always have to be a suspension of disbelief when buying into a game. I know a lot of content creators who struggle with this and will analyse every last section of a game to pick out the inconsistencies, and yes, glaring ones should be pointed out, but I choose to take things as they come, and Kingdom Come Deliverance has just enough realism to make it feel different to other RPGs, while also not getting in the way of it being an actual playable game. Yes, I still have to go back to an inn to rest and eat, I have to go to a bathhouse to wash my clothes so that townspeople don't think I'm a scruff, and that's enough for me. It's also the slow and believable animations for opening doors and picking things up that in any other game would feel tedious, but it works here because it's just that kind of a game. And see, there's other games like Red Dead 2 that build an amazing world and have a lot of the same little details, like animations for the smallest things, but if I'm being honest, Red Dead 2 is too long, and all these little things add up to making the experience feel longer than it already is. Here in Kingdom Come Deliverance though, I put something like 45 hours into it, doing all the main missions and some side stuff, and because it's significantly shorter than the likes of Red Dead 2, that stuff can't wear down on me the way it would in a 60, 70 or 80 hour experience. If I put my video game critic man hat on for a second, combat is probably the area that needs the most work. The premise of it is great. It's an omnidirectional system and it has high risk reward attacks and a fun parry system, and it doesn't really feel like anything else. Maybe For Honor, but I haven't played that in ages. But it's janky and it doesn't always feel great. The camera can be a bit finicky in multi-enemy fights, and sometimes you will get stuck in the terrain as you fight. And I can hear the comments, but Adam, this jankiness is supposed to simulate the clunkiness of real life combat, and that might sound like a great excuse, but I do think it needs a lot of work in the sequel. And we'll see if the clunkiness was deliberate or not. Regardless, there's nothing like it on the market. Near the start of the game, you can get a quest to take out bandits in a local camp, and in any other game you would run straight to that camp, take them out and get your reward. And I tried. I really did. I went during the night to sneak up on them, but all my stats were low. I got caught trying to sneak into the camp, and then when I tried to engage with them in combat, I got quickly outnumbered and killed. I kept bashing my head against a wall trying to clear out the camp, but I simply wasn't strong enough to do it. And I had to wait until I was nearly 15 hours into my playthrough before I had sufficient stats and gear to clear it out, which was a breath of fresh air, and it goes the same with the archery. I remember trying my hand at it on a school trip one time, and it was hard. So of course, trying to simulate real life archery for a blacksmith's son who had no experience with archery led to archery feeling awful in the game. And I was kind of filled with a false sense of security by doing the archery challenges because you just needed to find your range, pick your target, and then keep your cursor there and shoot. But that doesn't work when your target is further away or is skinnier than a massive target like a human is. There's a main quest where you have to lay siege on a local bandit encampment. At one point there is a load of archers that Henry himself has to deal with, and let me tell you, trying to hit these is nearly impossible. Plus, the arrows I was using did very little damage, so even if I did hit them, I had to hit them with at least another 4 or 5 arrows just to kill them. And this is the one section of gameplay where I felt I wasn't properly rewarded for improving. I was noticeably better at stealth near the end of my playthrough, I could smooth talk almost anybody, and I was even pretty decent at multi-target fighting. But archery was still as hard at the end of my playthrough as it was at the start, and I would like to see it improved in the sequel. Now, when we're talking about unfun mechanics, I think there are two that really stand out in this game. I can understand why the combat is clunky, or why you might be great at archery, or why you can't just stealth past anything. But the lockpicking and the save system in this game isn't really for me. Lockpicking, even the simplified version, is awful. It feels like I'm not doing it right, regardless of whether I fail the lockpick or not. And maybe they wanted to symbolise just how hard lockpicking is, especially for a normal person. But they could have done it in so many different ways. I think Bethesda perfected the lockpicking minigame of Fallout 3 and Skyrim. And I don't know why any developer would deviate from it. I think Warhorse still could have used it and made it extremely hard by making lockpicks really rare, or even just have the sweet spot be extremely small. And then the save system is just kind of annoying. Now, luckily you can save and quit and it will keep you in your location now, but when the game launched, the only way you could save was by sleeping in a bed or drinking Savior Snaps, a consumable drink that is hard to make and costs a bomb to buy in the shop. Now, I understand what they're going for here. The developers are trying to stop you from save scumming, which is a tricky spot to be in. They want to make your choices truly matter, but I just think it adds unnecessary tedium to the game, since you will have to redo a load of boring sections. The number of times I took off on my horse, travelled for 5 or 10 minutes, randomly got attacked, died, and then got sent back 10 or 15 minutes ago and I had to redo all that travel over again was really annoying. And it can make certain sessions feel unrewarding, and it's my least favourite part of Kingdom Come Deliverance. So if you got this far and you're in the boat of finding Kingdom Come Deliverance unfun, I think maybe you should give it another go. Take your time, play it at your own pace, explore to your heart's content, or, on the other hand, just mainline the story because it's a really great experience. In the traditional sense, I don't find this game fun. Look, I would much rather, from a gameplay standpoint, play something like Devil May Cry or a whole host of other games, but I don't think games really need to be fun. See, most games are unequivocally trying to be fun, and a lot of them succeed. And as someone who plays significantly more games than your average bear, I'm always looking for something different, something that stands out, and that's what I love about Kingdom Come Deliverance. Some of the systems might be a bit clunky and it can feel tedious at times, but even the bad parts are all of these weird ingredients that go into this kind of realistic soup that is Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't think I'd call it fun. A lot of what it does is antithetical to the idea of fun. But somehow, it makes for one of my favourite gaming experiences ever, and I cannot wait for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you want more RPG content. Join the channel members down below. I will have a review for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in the future, so keep your eye out on that. I have another video on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 if you want to go watch that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all on the next video.